Welcome to another edition of The Night Sky this week for August, I can't believe it, 9th, 2021. We're well into August, and it's a great week for sky watchers everywhere around the world. I'm so happy for you to join us. Let's dive in right away. First off, I want to welcome everyone in the chat room on the comments. I love seeing all of you, seeing where you're watching from. I hope you've had some clear skies the last few weeks, and I'm hoping that this week, particularly, you do have no clouds because there are some really neat things to be watching. So I just want to say a welcome to everyone. Teresa watching from Minnesota. Hazari is also watching from Brunei. Esvin from Maryland. Wow, people from everywhere. Excuse me, I'm just too excited. So, first off, let's go into the planetarium program right away. Here we are. This is the setup for Monday night. Just after sunset, look what we have. We've got a thin crescent moon joining Mars. Excuse me. There we go. Now, so Mars is going to be close to the very thin crescent moon in the southwest skies on Monday night. That's tonight when we're doing this broadcast. So as soon as the sun sets, look towards the southwest and you'll be able to see this beautiful pairing. Highly recommend it. It's easy to see with just the naked eye, and you just need a very clear view towards the southwest. Now, Mars is very faint because it's hundreds of millions of kilometers away from us, or miles away. So it looks very thin. In fact, it's on the opposite side of the sun from where Earth is in the solar system. So this pairing is really neat. If you have a pair of binoculars, definitely bring it out. What you'll also notice is faint little Mercury, the innermost planet, to the lower right of this beautiful scene. Let me just zoom in a little bit and you'll see a little bit closer how thin that crescent moon is. It's only 2 days old. So it's a waxing crescent moon. It is a challenge in itself to see because it is just so whisker thin. But it is a beautiful sight. And the key here is having that clear view to the western horizon. Now, beyond the moon, Mars, and Mercury, you'll also see and this is going to be the most easiest part of viewing the sky, is Venus. Venus appears like a brilliant bright star. You can't miss it. It's going to knock your eyes out. Again, towards the western sky. It's higher up than the moon. It's far to the far left of upper left of the thin crescent moon. That's where Venus will appear tonight on Monday, August 9th. Now, if I move this a day ahead, check this out. So here we go. We can move this to Tuesday. Tuesday, the moon will be a little bit thicker. That crescent moon will be easier to see with the naked eye, definitely, and it'll be quite eye-catching because it will be paired with Venus. This beautiful pairing between two of the brightest objects in the sky, the moon and the second planet from the sun, is something you don't want to miss. It's visible right around the world. If you're in the southern hemisphere, the view is flipped, and it won't be to the left of the sunset, but to the right of the sunset. And it's just a gorgeous sight. Highly recommend it. And it's this beautiful lineup of Venus, Mars, and Mercury too. It gives you a nice challenge to pick out Mars and Mercury using maybe a pair of binoculars, or if you have a small telescope. Really, really beautiful. So, of course, the moon will be getting a little bit thicker every day. So if we just widen the view here, looking towards the western horizon, again, soon after sunset, maybe about a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour after sunset, that time period is really that magical time period where the sun is far enough below the horizon so the stars start coming out and everything just pops into view better for you with the naked eye. Just becomes more easy to see. But look at this. By Wednesday, the moon will be thicker, even easier to see to the upper left of Venus, right? And then we go to Thursday and Friday. And here, this is Friday night. Friday night, the moon will be near the star Spica. Now, Spica is the lead star in the constellation Virgo the Maiden. And Virgo is a very large constellation, difficult to see. It's pretty much the best in springtime to see. And so right now in later summer, mid to late summer that we are in the Northern Hemisphere, it's becoming a challenge to make out because of its closeness to the sun. But Spica is, despite that, the lead star in Virgo is very easy to see. If we do a little bit an hour after the sunset, here you go. Look at this. You see, there's the constellation. There's Virgo. Venus is in Virgo as well. And just to the far left of Venus, below the moon on, again, this is Friday night, the crescent moon will be near Venus, Spica. Check that out. And Spica is a star that, by the way, is 250 light years away. It's incredible. Just think about that. 2.5 centuries it takes the light from Spica to reach your eye when you look at it. So again, this is, mark your calendar. This is Friday night. The crescent moon and Spica will be together. Now, if you wait later into the night, what else is there? Of course, there is Saturn and Jupiter. So as soon as darkness falls and maybe later into the night, or I'm saying around 10 p.m. local time, 11 p.m. local time, looking towards the eastern sky, you'll see another two brilliant star-like objects. The brighter of the two is, of course, Jupiter, the planet Jupiter, the largest planet in the solar system. It's so large that over 1,200 Earths could fit inside of Jupiter, and it will be pinned down in the Aquarius constellation, while to its upper right will be Saturn. It'll be a fainter star-like object, definitely yellowish tinged, just like you can see in this planetarium program, and it's embedded in the constellation Capricornus. Capricornus, the sea goat constellation, next to Aquarius, the water bearer. And these two gas giant planets are just perfect, just fantastic to be seen right now. Now, let's not forget, I'll add to this that Saturn right now is at its best, peak brightness. It was at opposition on August 2nd. Through the 4th, it was at its peak. But even though we're just a few days past opposition of Saturn, it's still a great time to see it. What does opposition mean? It means that Saturn rises as soon as the sun sets. So as the sun sets in the west, Saturn rises in the east, dominates the overhead skies throughout the overnight period, and sets in the west at sunrise. So it's really in the opposite part of the sky, Saturn is from the sun during opposition. And it also means that the Saturn is at its brightest and largest. It's actually fairly as close as it can get to Earth, about 1.2 billion kilometers away. I know that number is incredible. 1,200 million kilometers away is the distance of Saturn, and that's close. And Saturn appears at its best. So, how do you take advantage of watching Saturn now? This week, great time to see it. The next any clear night, look for Saturn. Easy to find thanks to Jupiter pointing the way. And if you have a telescope, the view gets much better than what you see with the naked eye. With binoculars, it won't appear much different than the naked eye. It still looks like a star-like object, but this is what you see through a small backyard telescope. Now, you don't need a large telescope at all. Even the smallest of telescopes will show you at about 50 times magnification is what you're talking about here to really see in detail the gas giant with those magnificent famous rings surrounding it. Now, remember, those rings around Saturn, they're really thin. They're only about 5 kilometers thick, and they do have gaps, dark gaps that are visible. You can see them here. This large one is called the Cassini division, and the Cassini division is easily seen through high magnification, pumping up that magnification of your telescope using the different eyepieces that comes with your telescope. Pump it up to as far as it can go, and you'll easily see this dark band. Just have some patience. It might be wavy, the view, a little bit blurry. That's because of the atmosphere of the Earth interfering. You're looking through a thick atmosphere of our planet. And if you're patient and you look for that good moments of seeing, you'll see that dark gap in the rings. And that's called the Cassini division, named after, of course, Giovanni Cassini, the famous Italian astronomer. We have a mission, the Cassini mission, you might have heard of, going to Saturn, NASA's mission, that probe that circled Saturn for many years, named after this astronomer. And he's the first one to spot that. Cassini was to spot that gap in the ring. So that's visible. You may see some of the band-like structures on Saturn. And also, of course, you may see some moons around Saturn as well. That is possible too. So some really, really beautiful things through that Saturn is visible through a small telescope. Do get a chance to see that if you can. And now is the best time because Saturn, in the first few days of August, was officially at opposition. And so do go out and see it. You know, it has an orbit that's about 29. It takes around 29 years for it to circle the sun. You know, it's going to be great for weeks and months, actually, to see it. But it is officially at its brightest and largest in telescopes right now. So don't miss out. Now, with all of that said, I haven't forgotten the granddaddy of all sky events is happening this week. And I want to make sure that you guys learn about it. We're talking about the Perseid meteor shower. It is the most famous of all meteor showers that happen every year like clockwork along the calendar year. There's about 12 meteor showers that are pretty good sky shows, but the showstopper really is usually the Perseids, and particularly on years when there's no moon, glare of the moon to interfere with our views. So really, it's easy to see the Perseid meteor shower. There's not much equipment you need other than maybe a nice lawn chair or a blanket that you can lie down on. You want to get a view that is clear of most of the sky. That's really important because these meteors can fly from any direction, really. And here you can see, though, if you trace back those strings of light, those little rays of light back to an origin, you'll notice that they all radiate out from one point in the sky, and that is in the namesake constellation of the Perseids called Perseus. Perseus, the young Greek hero who basically killed off the monster Medusa, is where all the Perseid meteors appear to radiate out from in our sky. And that constellation rises late at night in the early morning hours, and this time of the year. And so if you wait until that radiant rises high in the sky, you get to see more shooting stars. Now, this year, 2021, the Perseids promise to be really good. Why? Because the moon crescent, as we were watching just before, I was showing you, sets very soon after, not too long after the sunset, maybe an hour or two after. So around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, your local time, where it gets totally dark, the moon is gone, is out of the sky. And it leaves behind the perfect darker skies to see even the faint shooting stars. Now, if you can get away from the city, you get better views from the countryside where there's no light pollution. You'll even see the fainter shooting stars. If you're stuck in the city, you can still see shooting stars, but the brighter ones, right? So you'll see smaller numbers. Now, the question is, how many can you expect to see? How many of these streaks of light will you see in your night sky? It depends on where you are. Again, if you're within the city limits, maybe in a typical suburb, if you turn off all your lights, porch lights, and you kind of find a spot with no direct lights and you have clear skies, not much haze, things like that, or humidity, you may see maybe 20, 30 shooting stars per hour. This is on the nights of August 11th, 12th, and 13th. Okay, those are the 3 nights when you're looking to really see shooting stars. And if you're out in the countryside on a country cottage, you're lucky enough to be in a dark location, you could see as much as 100 to 120 shooting stars potentially per hour. Per hour, 100, 120 shooting stars. So this year is particularly good. No moon to interfere late at night. And that's really when the best part of the shower kicks in normally, is around midnight and after midnight into the pre-dawn hours. So really, if you want to get the most out of the Perseid meteor shower, go to the countryside, go after midnight and before your local sunrise, an hour before your local sunrise. So generally between midnight and 4 a.m. in the morning is when is the best time, like the ultimate best time. But if you can't do that, it's okay. You'll still see plenty of shooting stars late at night around between 10 o'clock and midnight, your local time, wherever you are. That is good. That'll be fine. You'll see plenty of shooting stars. And also, don't forget, sometimes you'll see even fireballs thrown in. These are baseball, basketball-sized stones that can cause a really unusually bright meteor. We call those bolides or fireballs. And these streaks of light take a little bit longer to travel across the sky, a little bit slower, and they are very impressive. And a meteor shower can elicit some more fireballs than usual on any random night. So do take a view of that if you can. Fireballs, look for those. So it's a great time this year. No moon in the sky because it's going to set early, and it leaves behind great sky conditions. And tools, no binoculars or telescopes. You don't need any. You just want to find a spot where you have a clear view of the overhead sky, as much of the sky above you as you can. You don't need binoculars and telescopes. Your eyes are perfect because they see big chunks of the sky. That's what you want with this. Of course, if you have binoculars and telescopes, you can have fun with that as well with your family and friends. But really, to get the most out of the meteor shower, to count those wishes, just your eyes. That's all you need, and some patience. A really great technique is buddy up with somebody, go back to back, lie back on a reclining lawn chair, and just take it easy. You'd be surprised it gets cold sometimes late at night, so bring out a blanket, maybe some hot chocolate, a nice drink or two. Have fun with it. It's really neat, and count those wishes. And if you have children, this is really one of the best sky shows, the Perseid meteor shower, to really introduce them to the night sky and stargazing, get them excited about the sky. It's really a nice show to do. And it's amazing to think the science that's going on behind this, guys. Now, remember, when we're talking about the meteor shower, each of these streaks of light take a fraction of a second. It's a sand grain-sized particle that's burning up in the upper atmosphere, about 70 to 100 kilometers above your head. That's where all the action's happening. And the sand grain-sized particle just burns up in the atmosphere. And why do we get meteor showers? It's when the Earth slams in to a cloud of particles left behind by comets. Comets, as they round the sun, every few years, they shed material, and it gets left behind in a train or a stream of material in orbit of the comet. And when Earth slams into this cloud of debris every year like clockwork, it produces a flurry of shooting stars that we get to see as streaks of light, what we call shooting stars or meteors, right? So, fantastic show. Don't miss out. The Perseid meteor shower. This is where the radiant is. It's in the northeast. It rises around local time midnight. You don't have to wait until midnight to watch. As soon as it gets dark, start watching. Stay out as long as you can. If you want to get the ultimate view, it's between midnight and 4 a.m. Looking at the overhead sky. And by the way, for those of you that are wondering what that bright star will be underneath the Perseus, a good guide is Capella. You'll see a yellowish orange, very bright star. This will be after local midnight, around 2 o'clock in the morning in the northeast. That yellow orange star, the radiant, is just above it, above Capella. Now, I'll have the sky charts for this on my Facebook page, Instagram page, and Twitter timeline. Of course, I don't want you to miss it. It's great stuff. Also, I'll have a link to a great little poll that my friends at Astronomers Without Borders are putting together. They have a great little page put together by all the tips and tricks. I'll put a link to the Astronomers Without Borders, the Perseid program. They have Count Your Wishes program going on. It's really cute. Basically, we're just collecting very simple data on how many meteors people like you around the world are watching. So there's a poll for each of the peak nights, which is August 11th, 12th, and 13th. Okay, so today is the 9th. So Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night. How many meteors are you going to see that night? You can answer the poll there and see what the results are and what others are seeing. What are the most common amounts that people are seeing? I'd love to see the results. And of course, we'll share that with all of you. That's on astronomerswithoutborders.org. I'm going to put a link in the comment section below so you don't miss out on that program. Wow. So lots of stuff this week. Thank you so much for joining. If you like my videos, please show your support by giving it a thumbs up, sharing it with your network of friends. Let's get more people out there stargazing. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss my next video and sky charts. Thanks so much. I hope you're staying healthy and doing well. And until next time, of course, I wish all of you guys out there clear skies. Bye-bye.